Welcome to this BVTV network trilogy coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. Now, our strapline under our BVTV logo is for inspiring thought leadership. To bring you that goal means I aim to, wherever possible, bring you some alternative thinking to help you, well, think. My guest in this trilogy will deliver exactly that. He's written this book, Shortchanged: How the Rich and Powerful Extract Wealth from the Real Economy and What We Can Do About It. So let's meet Dr. Jim Wright, MBE. Hello, Jim.
Hello there.
It's lovely to chat to you. Now, just before we came on, you were telling me that you're at the confluence of two rivers, aren't you? And, you know, I hope you're not going to get flooded. No flooding.
I live in the sort of ground floor flat of an old house, which is on the River Thames, but it's also where the River Wye that comes through High Wycombe, that's the English Wye, not the Welsh Wye, and it used to be called the Bourne, the Bourne Brook, and it's where the Bourne ends. So I'm in Bourne End.
Oh, I love English words and everything, but we haven't got time for that. Jim, let's get straight to the point. Now, you say in the book, you say that we've all been fed a lie that keeps 90% of the population poorer than we need be. Now, that's quite a straight statement. What do you mean by it, and how do you explain it in your book? Get us thinking, please.
Well, the basic thing is that we've all been led to believe that our economy, which we hear so much about, is driven by money. And that's a lie. It's actually the misuse of money that we have, and that's the bigger lie. If you think about it, money was only ever a concept. It wasn't designed as this thing to control our lives. It was designed to facilitate the fair exchange of goods and services so that we thought there was a fair deal. There was fairness in the principle about money, but there's no moral reason why money should be allowed to grow. For instance, we've now all come to accept that if you put money in a bank, well, at least before recent times, that you'd expect to be paid interest. But if you go back, if you put an ounce of gold into a bank, would you really expect to get more gold back when you went to collect it? No, they'd probably charge you for having taken care of it for you. So let's realize that money's only a facilitator when it comes to the economy. It's the oil, it's the thing that helps, but it's not the driving force. And the driving force is work. And it's those that do the work who are the real investors. You know, for instance, if you dropped a bag of money in your garden, it wouldn't do anything. You have to get out there and do a little bit of digging for yourself. It's, you know, it's the work that changes things, not the money. And, you know, yes, you do need money in business. It's there to help with timing differences. Yes, you need to buy the seed before you can harvest. You need to buy the components before you can assemble a product and sell it. But it can then be handed back if the business is well run. It will generate its income, and you don't need the money. So we could take it from our government. You know, the Bank of England, as we said, it's the lender of last resort. It only comes in when the money people who've put their money in the businesses in order to extract a profit get it wrong, which they did spectacularly in 2008. And so what happened? The government put in, what, 450 billion, was it?
Yeah.
Something like that, Malcolm?
Yeah,
and that was replacing the 450 billion pounds that the money breeder economy, as I call it, had created out of thin air to provide these mortgages that were never going to get paid back. It's quite stupid. I mean, it's when you hear the phrase that, you know, privatize the profits, socialize the debt, and it's the 90% that pays the debt, and that's wrong. You know, the idea that we need money as, you know, why they should get paid for this used to be that, well, it was risky. Well, that's not true. You know, the risk maybe in the past when they were markets first started, they were investing in hazardous voyages of discovery, and that's another story.
Yeah.
But nowadays risk can be, completely, the diversity of opportunity to invest is so wide that you can show that the past 100 years that investors have, regularly made profits of 5%. And when you think about the returns they get, the person who puts the money in the bank, as you know now, only gets, nothing to half a percent. Whereas, if you've got a reasonable amount and you can put it in the money markets, you might get 5%. And then we all heard about private equity when they're looking for returns of 30%. And this is how the rich get richer. And where does this money come from? It comes from the real economy in which the majority of people work. And I think that's wrong. And I think we need to change it. And
now, you're talking about work then. Where does the link then occur with productivity within work?
Work, let me just say that I, go against this distinction between owners and workers. When I studied my business, I was working in it. And I think everybody working in the business are workers. And we shouldn't distinguish this between, left and right. And the main thing, the world would be better off with greater cooperation. Now, productivity was basically, going back to Marx, was about his pin. He pointed out that, that 10 people could make more pins if they all did a bit, rather than each person making their own pin. And that's this division of labor. It's got nothing to do with finance. That's come separate. And I think it's important to realize that I'm not against capitalism. I'm aware that I'm against the way that capitalism is financed. And it's because we've got these two economies, that the real economy and what I call the money breeder economy. This isn't new. Lord King, who was the governor of the Bank of England at the time of the crash, he calls it the financial sector, but he acknowledges exactly the same thing, except that when we come to the government, they add the two economies together in this thing called GDP, so that we say the GDP must grow, but actually what we want is the real economy to grow, where everybody lives and works and invests. We should take the cost of the money breeder economy away from it. It shouldn't be additive. It should be subtracted from what we do. And
I'm with you there. Thanks, Jim. Now, don't forget, we've got episodes 2 and 3, because this is so enthralling. Let me remind our audience of your URL for the book. Now, obviously, viewers, you can see it on the screen behind me, but for listeners, let me spell it out. It's all the W's, short-changed.com. That's short-changed.com. Jim's book is this one, Short-Changed: How the Rich and Powerful Extract Wealth from the Real Economy and What We Can Do About It. And it's published by Silverwood Books. Jim, as I promised in my opening piece, we should all be thinking now, perhaps even getting indignant about it. In episode 2, I want to expand on your thinking that work, not money, drives our real economy. And we want to talk about not democracy, but plutocracy, so that we all truly grasp your thinking before knowing what we can do about it in episode 3. So thanks, Jim, for getting the cogs of our mind whirring in episode 1.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Jim.